With the climb to the iron mine complete, the Atchison, Missouri and Western turned its attention to the next challenge, moving the ore. The mine was alive with activity, its bins pouring out tons of rock ready for the rails. To keep up with the pace, the AM&W invested in a new switching engine, a powerful Baldwin-built 622D. She was named Short Stack, and she was assigned to the mine itself. Her job, to shuffle strings of ore cars under the tipples, organize them by cut, and make sure every car was loaded to the brim. Day after day, Short Stack worked the mine tracks, her stack belching as she nudged cars into place. Soon, 24 ore cars stood ready, heavy, steel-laden, and destined for the smelter. It was the largest single train the AM&W had ever assembled. Now a new challenge awaited the railroad. Winter was here and a nasty snowstorm was expected in the region, and the ore cars needed to get to the smelter before the storm closed the line. The AM&W had planned for ore trains to be double-headed, but Firefly was down for maintenance. That left only Will Rogers, the Cook-built 260 Mogul. As the strongest engine on the roster, the decision was made she would go up alone. Chadwick crews prepared her for the run. Will Rogers was rolled onto the turntable, spun to face the mountain, and then coupled to a brand new green caboose, fresh paint gleaming against the frost. With classification lamps illuminated, Will Rogers was ready to depart for the iron mine. But as her firebox roared to life, the air turned bitter cold. A sharp wind swept through the valley, snow began to fall, and before long, the storm was upon them. By the time Will Rogers pulled out of Chadwick, the blizzard had already arrived in full force. Steam and smoke mixed with snow as she battled her way up the pass. She would pass through the newly established town of Pilot Knob, which was founded after the construction of the Helper Station. Cuttings filled with drifts, the rails were slick with ice, but mile by mile the mogul pushed forward. At last she reached the iron mine plateau, where Short Stack had the cars staged and waiting. To ease the danger, the railroad cut the train back to 16 cars instead of the full 24. One by one, Will Rogers was coupled to her heavy load. The green caboose secured at the end, with the blizzard howling around them, the crew braced for the descent. The route laid down on the far side of the pass, a brutal line of varying grades that plunged to a staggering 9.5%. With 16 loaded ore cars straining at the couplers, it was the most dangerous run the AM&W had ever attempted. Brakes were set, the crew worked the air and the hand wheels, and Will Rogers dug in to hold the train back. But gravity was merciless. Her wheels slipped on the icy rails, the cars shoved harder with every turn, and speed began to build despite every effort to check it. Realizing the danger, the engineer threw the brakes into emergency, locking the wheels as sparks lit the storm. With the caboose and 16 cars surging behind them, he and the firemen made the only choice left. They leapt from the cab into the frozen night as the unthinkable happened. Will Rogers left the rails in a violent wreck, the ore cars piling in behind her. Snow and steel tore across the canyon. As the blizzard raged and silence finally fell, the AM&W faced its darkest hour. Would the railroad recover? Could the iron trade survive such a disaster? The answer lay in what came next. This story isn't over. The mountains have claimed their price, and the AM&W must now decide how to fight back. Thank you for watching episode 4 of the Atchison, Missouri and Western Railroads Online Series. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell icon so you don't miss what happens next, as the AM&W faces the aftermath of its greatest disaster yet. This is Frisco Man 1522, signing off.